Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The discussion of Maya is, at best we can say, confusing. And that has led many people, including scholars on the subject of Vedanta, to look at Maya from a standpoint that that calls for rejecting anything that is feminine, because Maya is seen as a feminine force. So that is one area of error that has to be addressed, and we'll do that today. And the second confusion is around the whole thing of trying to get to Brahman after putting Maya aside, which is what this author, Swami Vidyaranya, also seems to be telling us to do. But we have the reality. What is the reality? The reality is that we are living in a manifest universe, of which Maya is an integral part. So there is no trying to get away from Maya on the level of creation. This is something we have to understand. So where is this getting away happening? The getting away has to happen on the level of the individual and how Maya affects the individual. That is the place where we find the estual of Maya, discussions on estual of Maya, and that has to be properly assimilated in order to even go further and enjoy the contemplations that he gives. For too long, what we find in Vedanta Shastra is that this understanding which Adi Shankara gives, which Swami Vidyaranya gives, has not been understood. This understanding has not been assimilated well, even by many scholars and writers and academicians. And there are lots of, Maya comes with a lot of misnomers and baggage, in the sense that she is a troublemaker. Because of Maya, we are in this situation. She's a terrible troublemaker. And she is someone who has to be controlled. This is another thing. She is a force that has to be controlled. That's why she is feminine, because women have to be controlled by who? Ishvara, man. This is all very, very wrong. And this contributes to some very difficult misapprehensions. When it gets to the level of human orientations, it is extremely difficult to overcome. And we have grown up in this kind of orientations. Many of us have. And so part of this is dropping wrong understanding. This wrong association with the concept of Maya, etc., has to be dropped. So this I still remember there was some kind of a celebrated goddess temple in Sri Lanka that I visited, and the priest there said the temple will open at such and such a time, and it was already open, but there was a curtain there. You could not see the face of the goddess, you could not see her form. And so I said, when will the darshan take place? And somebody who was the assistant to the priest said, the priest has to first go in and show her who is boss. This is exactly what I was told. Show her who is boss, and then after that it will open. Otherwise, she will be really angry. And and the priest went inside. Again, the curtain is closed. And, I don't understand, what the Sinhalese, and so a lot of things were said. He raised his voice and something, and then he beat the sides of the temple. Beat the sides of the temple, and then, as though he was hitting the goddess or whatever it was, hitting the force that was surrounding the goddess. And then finally, the temple opened. Now she's supposedly tamed, domesticated, and then ready to receive devotees. Otherwise, she's like a wild dog who will eat up the devotees or whatever it was. This was kind of shocking to me. And then this is an extreme version, but then there are some milder versions of this which we have encountered. When I have gone with Pujya Swamiji to goddess temples and all, I have encountered this kind of a belief that Maya is a force, and of course it's a creative force, and the creative force has to be controlled, and without this controlling, she will go awry and the whole world will be in trouble. And this is something which is this is something which is very, very bizarre. And if we go away with this kind of an understanding, even at the sukshma, a very subtle level, we are we are doomed as far as oneness and Vedanta goes. That's why I'm taking a long time on this particular section, to ward off these kinds of erroneous understanding. So, from the standpoint of Bhagavan, she is he. There is no difference between she and he. She and he are one. And there is only that one which has no gender. Please understand that. When we say Ishvaraha, the word Ishvara is masculine because we have masculine and feminine words in Sanskrit. The word Maya grammatically is feminine. The word Ishvaraha grammatically is a ending noun which is masculine. But that has nothing to do with the gender of the entities they indicate. Nothing to do. Nothing to do at all. Because if Ishvara started to have a gender, then then there will be again Advaita Hanihi. There will be no Advaita possible. We ascribe a gender to Ishvara from the standpoint of the Jiva's helplessness. The Jiva is like an orphan. This is all poetic, and there it has some weightage, and there the bhakti Shraddha comes in. And in order to help ourselves, we say, "O Father of the universe, O Ma, Mother of the universe." And in that place it is wonderful. Even the most excellent poets like Kalidasa say things like Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. I salute the parents of the universe in the form of Goddess Parvati and Lord Parameshwara. This is poetic. But even in his poetry, his Vedanta shines through. Because the first line of this shloka that I just quoted, he says, Vagartha viva sampriktau, Vagartha pratipattaye. Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Vak and its artha. Vak means speech. Artha, its meaning. Vagartha viva sampriktau. Sampriktau means those who are inseparable, like a word and its meaning. How beautiful, see? Those who are inseparable, like a word and its meaning. Can you separate the meaning of the word pot from its word? No. As soon as I say pot, its meaning shines in your head. So similarly, if I say mango, the meaning of the word mango shines in your head. So whether it is, whatever word it is, whether it is referring to a sentient object or an insentient object, it still cannot be divested from the meaning. So Parvati and Parameshwara are conjoined like the word and its meaning. Vagartha viva sampriktau. Then Vagartha pratipattaye. And so, why am I doing this salutation to those forces who are inseparable like the word and its meanings, so that these words that I'm about to put forth in my poetry are understood properly. Vagartha pratipattaye. Jagatah pitarau vande. I salute the parents of the universe. Pitarau, very ingenious way in Sanskrit. Mata cha pita cha pitarau. Dual. So it's a compound, dvandva compound. And so here I salute the parents of the universe. So here there is great wisdom in this kind of understanding. And if we model our understanding of Maya and Ishvara, Brahman, etc., from this standpoint, then we are safe. Otherwise, we are traveling in some kind of gendered waters that take us to the brink of some myths and confusions. And so, therefore, the pervasive delusion that Maya is feminine and she is all over the place and Ishvara has to control, that is not the case. That is really not the case. When we talk about Maya, it is more in the sense of an expression of Bhagavan. Grammatically, she is an expression of Bhagavan in the form of the manifest universe. And what kind of an expression? It is an expression that is all knowledge, Jnana Shakti. Kriya Shakti, it's an expression which is magical. The Kriya, the action of Maya is magical. We saw yesterday shirt, fabric, yarn goes back to the silkworm, larva, and then before that egg, and then it is, you don't even know where is the real thing. This is the magic of Maya. She's a magical expression of Bhagavan's creativity, where where in the creation cycle one cannot trace its roots. Why? Because the roots are all Bhagavan. So if you try to trace the roots locally, you will go grey at the roots. That is what will happen. It is all Bhagavan. Well, what root can you give? There is no root. There is no root. There is only the fruit of this knowledge that all the roots are Brahman alone. That is how the 15th chapter begins in the Bhagavad Gita, not the Panchadashi, because that is what we are studying. That is how the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita begins. Urdhva moolam adhashakha. The roots are above somewhere beyond comprehension as an object, and the branches are below. This is a famous upside down tree. And then this tree is the tree of samsara, where we go for the low hanging fruit of objects and delights, usually sorrows, because the fruit that you go for is always rotten. In fact, the word fruit in Sanskrit, if you derive it etymologically, phalgutaya liyate iti phalam. That which is subject to rotting is fruit. Very nice definition. Because you keep a banana on the counter, banana, first day banana, then it is just no more I can eat this. It is just all pulverized. It becomes black on the surface. Even then it is salvageable. You can at least make some banana halwa or bread or something. But then if you let it go for too long, it is gone. So that which is subject to rotting is the fruit. And what we see here, everything is subject to finitude. And one is in the unenviable situation of wanting the infinite while being surrounded by the finite. And what kind of finite is it? It is a glorious, glorious finitude. Each thing is more tempting than the other. Each thing is so perfect. Each thing calls out, and each thing is put together so well by Ishvara. Starting with one's own buddhi. This is what we have to see. So Maya is nothing but the creative expression of Ishvara in the form of all knowledge and in the form of the infinite finitude which is the Jagat. This is what Maya is, objectively speaking. So where is the control? Where is this? Where is this man controlling woman? All these things, male, female forces, all this is not there. That is why we are free in the tradition to invoke the goddess aspect of Bhagavan. We are able to invoke freely. In fact, there are so many Shakti Peethas in India, they celebrated. Very, very much celebrated. And when we invoke the goddess, we are saluting the knowledge of Ishvara. Maya is non-separate from Ishvara. That's why I said all the devatas in the Hindu tradition are happily married. Even when we invoke Ganesha, who is supposed to be a brahmachari, there are two consorts, Riddhi and Siddhi. We invoke silently. And so therefore, this is uh, this is a very stupendous understanding. It should be mind-blowing to see this, to see all knowledge of Ishvara, all might of Ishvara being manifest as the Jagat. And so, when we look at anything in the Jagat, a flower, it is, first you say, okay, now I know what to do. Satchit Ananda, flower is. Is equal to Ishvara. Yes, correct. Full marks for that understanding, but I want to go a little deeper here. Flower is means what? What does the word flower is means? Well, I already told you, you might say. It means that I'm pointing to the fact that the existence of flower does not belong to the flower. Right again. But what is the nature of this existence? The nature of this Sat is nothing but Chit, all knowledge. When I say flower is, what am I saying? The flower knowledge is. Because what I know about the flower constitutes its existence. Whatever that is there knowable about the flower constitutes its existence. Flower is, flower knowledge is. Anything that is tree is, tree knowledge is. What is the tree other than what I know about it? So if I ask what is flower, you'll say, okay, it has this name, it has this form. It's a carnation, let's say, and it has these serrated edges for the petals, and sometimes it comes into three colors, and then it lasts for a long time, unlike rose and unlike other things. So, carnation is means what? Carnation knowledge is. In fact, when you say carnation knowledge is, then you are already talking about Ishvara. Actually, it is no longer a carnation, it's an incarnation. Okay, so this is what the carnation has been converted into, an incarnation of Bhagavan. And of course, Maya is there, but as all knowledge as an expression of Bhagavan's knowledge. So, therefore, the confusion here, this is how the confusion goes, because you see the manifest universe as a holy, sacred, and stretching expression of Bhagavan's knowledge, Bhagavan's existence, and everything. So, then where is the problem with this Maya? Not at the level of the Samashti. Samashti means the total. At the level of the individual, there is the problem. Because that all knowledge of Ishvara ends up covering my knowledge, as though, we have to put, as though covering my knowledge of myself and my knowledge of the Jagat and my knowledge of Ishvara, Bhagavan. How? We have already seen how. The three gunas. Everything except you. Yes, except that self, except you, is everything is under the spell of these three gunas. You can imagine someone doing a nice embroidery with stick figures and with and then in this embroidery there are we are studying this in the Shatashloki text right now. So this embroidery is there, stick figures are there, houses are there, sunrise is there, chaiwala is there wheeling his little kiosk and inviting everybody to have his chai in the morning. The chai seller is there. The paper boy is there on his another stick figure on a bike, just throwing the paper in front of the people's doorsteps. And they have amazing aim. And on my walk, sometimes I see these 4-story apartments. He's able to throw it up into the balcony. It's amazing. These 12-year-old, 13-year-old children, it's amazing. And so in this is all happening in this big like a scroll, a tapestry. You can see that. And then the person making breakfast in another kiosk is there, selling all kinds of things for people who are on the go. And there is a train station and there is an airport. And then you are also there along with other frenzied figures. You are also there pulling your hair out in clumps because you are late to an important meeting. All this is there. And then the embroidery threads are sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are the colors of the threads. Some have more, some have less. And this whole Jagat in the form of this tapestry, the one who is gazing at the tapestry, you have the unenviable position of being both an observer, Sakshi, and also being trapped in the tapestry. Should we call it a trapesty or should we call it a travesty? This is what we don't know what to do. So you are an observer. Yes, you can. Definitely, when you look at it objectively, you can marvel at this tapestry. The sheer work that has gone into it, the sheer knowledge, the intelligence of Bhagavan, of the parents of the universe in crafting this, and the sheer marvel of how infallible this whole manifestation is. One stick figure is lonely, wants to get married to another stick figure, gets into the sticky situation of marital life. All this is there in the tapestry. And then they have small stick figure children, and then small stick figure dogs and cats to entertain the children. All these things are there in this tapestry. There is an infallibility associated with it, which is why it is absolutely marvelous as long as you are the Sakshi. But then, as soon as you say the one that is pulling its hair out in clumps, the sixth one from the left is May, then what happens? Tears flow. You have become trapped in this travesty, in this travesty called samsara. This is the place where the objective, wonderful expression of knowledge of Bhagavan called the Jagat turns into the doldrum of samsara. This is exactly that intersection. And what is the intersection? The slippage from the Sakshi to Karta, participant, to Bhokta, the recipient of these, of being trapped in this embroidery, where all the body, mind, sense complexes of all the jivas are so too trapped. And from the point of view of the stick figures, they are all crying, Trahimam. One stick figure is beating up another stick figure. And then the stick figure that is being beaten up is crying, Pahimam, Trahimam. Hey, help me, save me, protect me, Rakshamam. And then what? One is being, so there is all this inside this tapestry. There is this, there is inequality, there is social injustice, there is climate change. Let's say the hills are all burning with, too much warming, and all the foliage is just dry. There is drought, cracked, parched earth made of embroidery. Same thing. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. This is all embroidered. And somebody is always getting somebody's goat, somebody is the scapegoat, somebody is, and it's always the same people, same, let's say, section of people that are in trouble. Those who are under the spell of poverty, neglect, social, cultural, etc., because we have been unable to take care of our own, we have been unable to reach out and help, all these things. And now, in the time of the pandemic, the tapestry takes on another this thing. So the stick figures are wearing masks. The stick figures are, before they were all crowded, now they are all maintaining distance. And so the tapestry grows because in order to accommodate the 6 feet distance, it has to grow. It is expanding. It's an ever expanding universe, the physicists say. And so it is an ever expanding tapestry. Beautiful. So if you are able to appreciate the embroidery like a museum goer, you go to the museum and somebody tells you this is a 8th century mural or work of art or something like that, huge. You're able to say, look at this, how nice. Oh, look at the colors, look at the brilliance, look at the what is that? Look at the trick lighting in this picture. How did they do it long time back? If you go to in Mysore, there is this king's museum, Maharaja, who was one of the kings, was a collector of art and everything. He commissioned a number of paintings. And there was one famous painter, I forgot what his name was, but he painted the royal family. Not the current one, but a couple of generations ago. And then, so the royal family was there, the king was there, the queen was there, and the prince and princesses were there, and some other attendants were there. This is the photograph, huge photograph. And then, you can admire how the jewels shine in the painting, and you can admire all these things. But then that painting, which is really, from far it looks like a photograph, it's very, very well done. And then that painting is a trick painting, and it is exhibited in such a way that you have to walk from one side and then cross the painting and then go out of the other exit. And then when you walk, if you have a guide with you, the guide will tell you, look at the shoes of the monarch, the shoes of the royal personages. And no matter where you go in the painting, the shoes have a kind of there's a trick in the painting. The shoes are always pointing towards you. So as you make the arc to go from one side to the other, the whole painting is pointed towards you, and it is seen in the shoes. And then it is just, how did they do this? Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. This is how Maya is. It is simply, I say it because when you say she, then this confusion can come again. It is simply the glory of Ishvara. manifest. And if we take a cross section of Maya, then it comes like this endless painting full of stick figures. You can marvel at the brilliance. In fact, that marveling is an expression of bhakti of the Lord and the goddess. She is the mother, he is the father, she is just together inseparably. And then they have produced this infallible painting called Jagat, this tapestry called Jagat, full of tricks, full, how glorious, how wonderful. Seen from the standpoint of the observer, the so called injustice and all the suffering that one sees is glorified into Ishvara, is rather Ishvarified. The Ishvarification of the injustice is an act of emotional maturity. Otherwise, one is caught in the tapestry with a chip on the shoulder. I didn't get this, I didn't get that, I have to have this. My people didn't get this. These people are always the underdogs. This is what is the problem. So is injustice justified? Injustice is never justified. In fact, the fact that we are calling injustice also is barely justified. Because we are the ones saying this is unjust. This should not be there. Seen from the standpoint of some values which are uh, which are which are very much time specific, space specific, many of them. And so if it appears unjust, then this injustice is there. But then when we look at it from the standpoint of the orders of reality, the karmic order, etc. And here is where people get very bristled. So, are you trying to say that social injustice is all karma? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying karma has a role. Injustice is never justified. But then people have free will. That's how billionaires become billionaires, because they don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes. How? They have figured out some loopholes. So is that just? No, it is not just. Then then how? Why does it exist? Because it may be serving a purpose, or because there is free will. And it's the abuse of free will that targets all the people in certain areas of the society repeatedly, because there is some vulnerability. So we are not saying it's all karma. We are not saying that it's one is karmically destined to have pain, sorrow, etc. No one is destined to do that. It is the operation of the free will here, the abuse of the free will on the parts of the perpetrators of injustice, and the vulnerability of the ones that are the recipients, unfortunately, of this injustice. And when we look at the socio-economic vulnerability, then what do we see? We see that there is a karmic portion. There is some kind of a karmic order there talking, and then the violators of dharma will get their justice. And if you say, oh, but all the wrongdoers are getting away, they are not getting away. You don't know what happens to them. They seem to be happy. Yeah, that's an appearance. You don't know what they are going through, and you don't know what happens in their next life. Bhagavan knows. And so this tapestry, even though when you are in it, when one is trapped in this tapestry, it is far from perfect. But when you are looking at it as Ishvara looks at it, it is nothing but infallible. An infallible expression of knowledge and an infallible expression of glories of Bhagavan. What is Maya? The goddess that is the glory of Bhagavan, an expression of Bhagavan. So, therefore, How and when the Jagat turns into samsara should be a warning bell for, for Vedantins, for the people who are into Vedanta. You go too close to the painting, you are pulled into it. Some paintings have that effect. You go to museums and you are watching the painting and you have as though entered the painting. So when you enter the painting, then there is a certain solipsism, a self-centeredness from the standpoint of ahankara, and there is a certain insecurity, because once you enter this tapestry, you feel trapped, you feel alone, you feel insecure, and you are trapped in the gunas. And the being trapped in the gunas is being trapped in avidya, which is the expression of Maya on the individual level. What do you mean on the individual level? When you walk into this tapestry, that is what I mean by the individual level. You become a stick figure with sticky problems. You identify with the let's say there is a town, and there is a merry-go-round, and then there is a some amusement park in the town, and there are shops and there are houses, and you say, hey, wait a minute, that looks like the house I grew up in. That's my house. Let's see who all is there. You enter the town, my town. You enter the amusement park. Oh, this is where I went on the merry-go-round. And then this is the road that leads to my house. This is my road. This is my house. My road means what? All objectivity is eroded because the word my has come into the picture. Maya in the form of avidya is activated each time you say my. Each time there is an ownership, or rather an identification with any manifest aspect of the Jagat. There are problems, there are difficulties, immeasurable difficulties, because avidya, self ignorance, and my, the word my, and me, aham, mam, mama in Sanskrit, I, me, mine, have an affinity, because the words me, I, my at the level of ahankara, aham, mam, and mama, they are the expressions of avidya. They are also the raw materials of avidya, because they are wrong identification. Avidya is nothing but wrong identification. So you step into the painting out of curiosity, and then what happens? You are trapped. You step into the painting because it looks inviting. Come here. Look, doesn't this look like your road? As soon as you say, yes, this is my road, it is it is eroding your objectivity. And so this is the place where the Jagat turns into the doldrums of samsara, where there is a certain feeling of entrapment into what was a goddess force. This is what we mean Maya at the level of Ishvara, all glorious, objective, infallible expression in the form of Jagat, and Maya at the level of individual, owning up this Jagat or things in the Jagat as I, mine, me. I am the agent of my actions. That all comes, that all follows. First, I, me, mine, and then I am the agent of action. I am doing this, and then, sure enough, the actions of the stick figure in this tapestry yields to certain results. Some promotion comes, something is made, something is sold, something is bought, and all these things. So the delusion here is complete. So in the tapestry, you are the actor. Out of the tapestry, when you are just gazing at it, you are Ishvara, Asanga, uninvolved. And so This is where uh, the Bhagavad Gita is very useful. How to come out of this tapestry? What kind of aids do I need to develop that objectivity of simultaneously being a participant and an observer? How to do that? You cannot be a participant and an observer at the same time. So one of these statuses has to be falsified. Which one? Observer cannot be falsified because then we have no leg to stand on if the Sakshi is falsified. So Sakshi is ultimately also given up, but then we will talk about that later. For now, what is to be falsified is the status of me being a participant. But it looks so real. Yeah, that's why we need Shraddha in the Shastra, in the teacher, and then in Bhagavan, to be able to at least give this talk a benefit of doubt. Let me try this. Okay. So the status of the participant, the karta, is as though falsified. Falsified. The kartritvam, doership, as though. Bhoktritvam, the enjoyership, is as though. Action, as though. Results of action, as though. So how to falsify the myself as a participant? Let the tapestry come to life and you sit with a bag of popcorn and watch yourself. That's what it is. As though stick figure, as though doing something, as though getting upset. Sometimes victim, beaten up by other stick figures. Sometimes the agent, sometimes a bully, beating up other stick figures. And the dance of Maya continues. Lasya, the dance of Maya is called. This continues. And if you are sitting and watching in the audience, if you're sitting and watching, it is enjoyable. Oh, what an interesting story. Oh, it's like watching some old videos of you as a child. And that is of course recent. Earlier there was no such thing. But imagine if you were just watching the video of you as a child. Then there are points you can laugh. How cute. Oh, how silly I was. Look at me. I was crying over this balloon. I can't believe it. I can't believe I was crying over something so inconsequential. How real it seemed. This is how to watch the show. Hang on to your seat because there is a centrifugal pull to want to become part of the play, to want to become the participant. As long as you're an as though participant, doing your role in the play, then it is okay. But you cannot identify with the role of the actor. Actor mithya, tapestry mithya, Traigunya Vishaya, all the three gunas, mithya. That I am affected by the three gunas, mithya. Mithya, 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 all the way. Mithya means dependent reality. Dependent on what? The only thing, Satchidananda, what else can it depend on? That is Brahman, that is Ishvara, that is you. In this same Panchadashi, there is a brilliant, of course, every chapter is brilliant, but there is a brilliant setup in chapter number 10 called Nataka Deepa, the light of the play, the light, the illumining of the theater, dance theater. This is, of course, in ancient times when some kind of an amphitheater was there with little stones, in semicircle format. And then there was a raised plinth, which was the stage. Imagine that. And imagine an evening dance program with a celebrated dancer. And transport yourself into this play, into this scenario. So you and your family, you have your tickets and you have your seats, and you're waiting excitedly for the dance performance to begin. Then you take stock of what? Of the dancer. She comes, she's resplendent, she's dressed in wonderful colors, jewelry that sparkles as she moves. And what graceful moves, what intricate footwork, and what authentic expressions on the face. What complicated handwork. You can appreciate all this. And then what? There is a live orchestra, a band that is playing to for every step that she takes, every move that she makes. There is the drummer, there is the violinist, there is someone who is with the cymbals, and then there is the vocalist who is singing the song that she is enacting. And then there are other people to make sure that the stage is all right. Like if she is whirling and an earring falls off, quickly their job is to go and retrieve that so that she doesn't step on it when she comes back again. So there are people to take care of this. And then there are vendors of peanuts, popcorn, etc. All ancient snacks that are going through the seats. Fresh, fresh, take, bye, bye, come on, come on. All this you notice. Everybody notices all this. Panchadashikara Swami Vidyaranya laments that one thing is forgotten, unsung, the unsung hero of the whole show. Really? Who is it that is forgotten? I counted the dancer, one dancer, and then some backup dancer, her younger sister, when she goes to change. She puts the younger sister so that the younger sister also has some exposure. So the younger sister entertains with dance or music when she is in between costumes. So okay, I counted her too, and I counted all the whole band, the orchestra. Then they were sitting on some cushions. I saw that, and then I saw the audience, and everybody was enjoying. We were swaying into each other. It was so rhythmic, such lovely music, such lovely orchestra. Everything was accounted for. What is it that I'm forgetting? Everything is accounted for. What is it that one is forgetting? Nothing. I have accounted for everything. Swami Vidyaranya says that the big firebrand lamp that is there to illumine the whole show is forgotten. We take that for granted. The whirling of the dancer is seen because of the lamp. You see your own body because of this lamp, the lamp that lights up the whole amphitheater, and the musicians, and the dancer, and the audience, and the popcorn that they are eating, and the other, people of the show. Whoever is there, the background people, the directors, and the spot boys who are directing the lighting to certain places, and then the people, the children who are there to make sure that the stage is clean and clear so that any ornament or anything that falls is not going to hurt her feet when she comes on the stage again. All this is noticed. What is not noticed is the silent yet the lamp that burns steadily. And what? And we have to continue with this metaphor. Everyone says, Wah, wah. Now we have reached the end of the performance. Everyone claps, standing ovation for the dancer. She comes and bows. She does namaste. Another standing ovation. Clap, clap, clap. Come back, come back. And then, and then after that, what? Everybody makes their way home. Orchestra goes. Dancer goes. Vendors also wind up their wares and they go. Ticket sellers go because the show is done now. Audience goes. And now what is the lamp illumining? The empty theater. Think about this. The empty theater. Lamp is Satchidanandam Brahma. It is you. You are that Nataka Deepa. You are that lamp. It illumines the presence and the absence of the relative things. And again, to bring it back to our metaphor, the presence and the absence of the stick figures in the tapestry. You catch hold of the lamp, you are safe. You fall in love with a dancer, and then you are sad because you can't follow her home. She has her own life. You can't follow her home and you know want to develop some kind of a friendship with her. Not possible. Fall in love with the person sitting next to you. They have their own life. They're not interested in you. They just fell into a conversation and it was nice for a while. That was it. And so whatever you get identified with and whatever you get attached to in this theater is what is finite, won't be there. The show the show has stopped. The show of the dance has stopped, but the Maya's show keeps going and going and going until and unless you catch hold of the lamp. The lamp is you, in the form of that knowledge that all this is as though. When you catch hold of this knowledge, then you are safe. The lamp, the light of knowledge, the lamp of knowledge will never let you down, will never disappoint you. Being blessed and illumined by the lamp of knowledge, nothing touches. You can, as though, enjoy watching yourself as a stick figure being beaten up by several bullies. No problem, it is as though. Then you are laid up sick in a little stick figure in a hospital bed with a little with a little thread going into your arm. You are on some IV medicine. You can enjoy that too. People keep asking me, Swamini ji, will after I study Vedanta, will all my problems go? The honest answer is no. Oh, then why am I studying Vedanta? So that you will be big enough to take care of other people's problems too without being affected, either by your own or by the problems of others. No problem. So this is where the Purushartha comes into the picture. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, the resolve to be free of being trapped in Maya, so to speak, is called Vyavasayatmika buddhi in the Bhagavad Gita. Nishchayatmika buddhi, a decisive resolve to be able to be blessed with the knowledge that is able to call the spoof of Maya, starting with my body, mind, sense complex. And here we are only touching the avidya aspect of Maya. We are not trying to remove Maya, much less are we trying to remove ourselves from the tapestry. Only cognitively this is happening. Because Maya is Ishvara Srishti. Taking on Maya as my definition is Jiva Srishti. This is avidya. That alone causes problems. That alone can be removed. Ishvara Srishti on the level of the universe cannot be removed. Ishvara made it. Need not be removed because it is not causing problems. What needs to be removed are the scales in my own vision. Like the Guru Stotram talks about, Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Unto that Guru, my namaskars, Namaha. Who is this Guru? The one that performs a surgery. Oh, what kind of surgery? Cataract surgery, where the cataracts of ignorance and wrong understanding of the eye were removed with the scalpel of knowledge. one has to submit to this operation. I mean, in a real means empirically real. In a real operation, what happens? You go and you have chosen your surgeon, you have chosen the date of the operation, and then you go. And then what? The first thing, before even the surgeon shows up, you are greeted by the anesthesiologist who did not even know, you did not even know existed. I am your anesthesiologist. Oh, really? And then you are already on the gurney being wheeled into the operation theater. And the anesthesiologist says, please sign here. What? What am I signing? You're already panicked. What is your age? What is your weight? This is the only time perhaps the person doesn't flub their weight or their age, because depending on that, the anesthesia is given. So you tell the correct weight. And then, please sign here. What is it saying? What am I signing? Anesthesia is very safe these days, but once in a while, you don't come back. You know, just one in a million cases. Don't worry. But we don't want to, the hospital should not be held liable. So just sign on the dotted line. I have brought a pen. Come on, sign. So lying down, what you have to give up? You have to give up the right to your life. You sign. This is Shraddha here. This here is Shraddha. This is a very good example of Shraddha. Because what else to do? You have to submit to the operation. And then the surgeon will not see you actually, will see you before the operation and then after the operation when you are in the recovering room, not during. Why? Because, they will say it will cause so much pain and all these things. So general anesthesia is advised here. Okay, so then, general anesthesia helps you to not have pain and anxiety, surely, but we would be, askance not to point out the fact that the general anesthesia also helps the surgeon a lot. The surgeon doesn't want you interfering in the operation. Otherwise, imagine that scalpel looks rather big. Don't you think you should select a smaller one? You will be saying from the operation table. And then the surgeon cuts. Let's say there is some local anesthesia, you don't feel the cut. Are you cutting in the right place? It's hurting little above. I think you're cutting too low down. Oh, now you're stitching up? Are you sure you haven't left anything behind? Gauze, tweezers, needle, check again. Because I don't want to have any complications. I'm going to sue you if you do anything like that. Are you sure you got all the tumor out? The surgeon doesn't want any interference. The surgeon wants to do her job, his job. And similarly, Vedanta Shastra is a means of knowledge that cuts out the tumor of Atma Ajnanam. The surgeon is the Upanishad. The surgeon is the Panchadashi. And the Guru is just the wielder of the scalpel. The surgery is already talked about. It is a textbook surgery. What is the textbook? Upanishad. Upanishad tells how to do the surgery. And the wielder of the scalpel, called the Pramana, is the surgeon. The receptivity with which you allow the Shastra to take over your life and excise the tumor of Atma Avidya is the extent to which you will be free enough to identify with the lamp, not with the rest of the show. That receptivity is bhakti shraddha. Shraddha is defined in the Viveka Chudamani as Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satyabuddhi Avadharana. The ability to hold on to the words of the teacher and the Shastra, which are one and the same. until the knowledge takes place, until the what is that called? Ajnanam is banished, is called Shraddha. Very wonderful and apt definition. So, what is it that I'm trying to say? The removal of Maya as avidya is a two-way process. You can have the best of gurus, you can have the best of teaching situations. If there is such a thing, you can be taught the best of the Upanishads. There is not, but just for the sake of a metaphor, metaphorically speaking. You can have the best of Shastra, best of Guru, best of teaching situations, best of situations of no distraction, no responsibility. All those conducive situations are there. Yet, for the knowledge to take place, there should be an opening. There should be an opening. Even a slight opening is enough for the Guru to enter in the form of knowledge. But that opening must be there. And that opening is the responsibility of the student. The Guru also helps effect the opening, but it is primarily the responsibility of the student. How much I am willing, it is all about trust. How much am I willing to trust that despite all the despair, despondency, dejection, and rejection that I have encountered in my life due to lack of trust, how much am I willing to trust? How much am I willing to put my bet on Vedanta with the understanding that this will definitely help me? It has helped all the people, all the acharyas who I respect in the tradition. All the saints have benefited from this knowledge. All the seers, saints, scholars have benefited from this knowledge. And this parampara is so many thousands of years old. It will surely have an impact on me. It will surely help me. This kind of a trust has to be cultivated. And for that trust to be cultivated, what is standing in the way? Avidya. This is one more catch 22 of Maya. What is standing in the way? Of course, it is avidya. What else can stand in the way? So Maya stands in the way of its own removal. Bingo, you got it. Yes. So then it becomes a, kind of an infinite regression. I remove the Maya in order to remove the Maya, in order to remove the Maya, in order to remove the Maya. It can, and it has for many people who haven't even have had the good fortune to be exposed to Vedanta. It can become an infinite regress. But thankfully, due to Bhagavan's grace, the one can stop this infinite regress by saying, I am consciously dropping the distrust. I'm going to take a leap, a quantum leap of trust, because I'm sick of being trapped in this tapestry, which goes nowhere. Let me out, let me out. This is all happening in the tapestry. A stick figure is yelling, screaming. Then the yelling, screaming stick figure goes in front of a stick altar and does Ashtanga Namaskara in front of the stick altar. And Bhagavan says, Tathastu. And then the stick figure slowly rises from the stick altar and then goes out of the house and sees a glowing another stick figure, Guru stick figure, all in the tapestry. Then the Guru stick figure, how is the Guru stick figure depicted? With some orange threads, and then with a little halo behind the head for good measure. Then and then the stick figure now turned into student thus says, Bho Guru Adhihi Bhagavo Brahma, please teach me that which is going to get me out of the tapestry. And the guru points, follow me, I'm headed there. And what is that? There is another two sticks with a little stick banner on top of it. Gurukulam. Stick Gurukulam. Tapestry Gurukulam. See, it's all happening there. You don't have to come out. Right there, you can cultivate the trust. And so the two go, one behind the other. The Guru goes into the Gurukulam and the student also goes. Oh, but we don't have Gurukulam. This is all pandemic. Yeah, but we have Zoom Kulam. And so you can imagine this is Arshavidya Zoom Kulam. And then there are little sticky computers, little stick figures looking at little stamp papers, stamp size stick figures, and then saying Adhihi Bhagavo Brahma. And then in the Zoom Kulam, in the tapestry, or in the Gurukulam, in the tapestry, the gurus are teaching. Gurus after guru in the parampara are teaching. And then you find other stick figures that are not looking so harried because they are into satsang. They have some Shraddha, some bhakti. So you say, oh, I am so and so, I am from here. Where are you from? Let me take down your email address. Let's start a group. Let's start a Gita group. Let's start this. Let's do that. There is so much comfort. Where is this happening? All in the tapestry. The seeds for redemption cannot be outside of the place where one feels trapped. It is right there. Just the right effort with the right kind of trust has to be directed in the right place at the right time. That is where the redemption is. And the stick guru sitting on a stick podium says, Tattvamasi, you are the whole. Oh, they are studying Chandogya Upanishad? No, that is tomorrow. But right now they are studying Panchadashi, 15th chapter. A stick book in the sticky hands of the stick figure in the form of the teacher and the student. And then the knowledge is actually a vritti. Think about this. Why? Because sattva, rajas, tamas, sattva, rajas, tamo gunaha, they are also vrittis. What is vritti? It is a thought. Oh, that's what I thought. Good. So vritti is a thought. A bullying vritti, rajo vritti. Then a despondent vritti, tamo vritti, they are on auto repeat. They are constantly broadcasting themselves. And the preparation of the heart of the student is by taking course to sattva vritti, because the sattva vritti, as we have seen, is very, very, very close to your self, to the self that is unfolded by the Upanishads, to Satchidananda. So the prepared stick figure endowed with Shraddha and Bhakti is listening to the stick figure in the form of the Guru transmitting the knowledge. That is why the knowledge is called a transmission, because most of what happens is magical. Ascharyavat paschati kashtidenam. Someone looks upon this with wonder. For the teacher, when the teacher talks, is also in awe. The student is in awe. The teacher is surprised that this knowledge is coming through me, and the student is surprised that this knowledge, there is such a knowledge like this and it is getting through to me. Teacher is surprised, student is surprised. And then what? The biggest surprise of all, says the Bhagavad Gita, that even after being taught, it is the best kept secret. Shrutva api naveda kaschit. Even after being taught, one doesn't understand. It's the best kept secret. Why? No Shraddha, no priority, no Nishchayatmika buddhi, no Shraddha, nothing. That is why the prepared mind, in the prepared mind, which is Satvika vritti predominant, where the rajo vritti and the tamo vritti, all these ghora and mudha vrittis, to use the words of the text, are suspended. They are underground. They have stopped broadcasting themselves at every turn. In such a mind, a new vritti is offered, planted. What is this vritti? Coming from the mouth of the teacher and being received via the ear, in going into the heart of the student. What is this vritti? This vritti is called akhandakara vritti, a vritti of oneness. The vritti is kshanika. Vritti comes, does its job. Kshanika means momentary. Vritti comes, does its job, and then self destructs. But then the vritti has already opened up the gateways to that self effulgent, self evident I, which is already available. What does the vritti do? It removes the wall that the antahkarana has. Walls of distrust, walls of suspicion, walls of ajnanam. The vritti of oneness, which is what happens in a Vedanta class when you have an aha moment, when you recognize yourself, when you recognize something. That is the vritti of oneness operating. The vritti of oneness is like a flower that dismantles a big brick or cement wall to reveal the Bhagavan within. The wall is destroyed. You are one with the whole. You are free. And then do I continue to be in the tapestry? Yeah, but as though. Then you have a joyous stick figure rushing out of the Gurukulam. Dhanyoham, Kritakrityoham. I have fulfilled the purpose for which I was born. I am blessed. I am thankful. I am grateful. And then perhaps continues to do whatever they were doing in their own life without being bugged by other stick figures or other sticky situations. Or they might be the future teachers and teach everybody. Or they might just teach their own family and friends. That's also fine. Or they may not teach at all, they may just live with the glory of their very being. All those are possibilities. And that is what freedom from Maya entails. Maya is not something to be shunned or to come out of literally. Maya only is that aspect of Maya which gives problems. The Jagat doesn't give problems. Objectively looked at, the Jagat simply is, it is not problematic at all. What is problematic is one's own ignorance, because of which there is a layer of subjectivity called pratibhasikam. That is what falls. The scales of adhyasa fall from my eyes, my own adhyasa, because of ajnanam. And thanks to the teaching, one is free of Maya, free enough to have a finite body, free enough to have a complaining mind, free enough to as though live in a finite world, while understanding that one is actually infinite. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.